Hey, welcome to the joint prep video. I'm going to take you through a short 10-minute flow that is going to prepare your joints for the day or for your workout. Now, with this joint prep, you can take it as quickly as you want or as slowly as you want. It's usually around 10 minutes, which is what I'm going to try to stick with today. The idea with this is something you should be trying to do every single day. That doesn't mean that it has to literally be every single day, but it's something that you want to incorporate into some daily habits, whether in the morning or the evening. This will definitely help with hip issues, knee issues, ankles, low back, upper back, neck issues. I do this pretty consistently, anywhere from 4 to 6 times a week, and it has helped me tremendously with my low back, upper back, and neck issues. So without further ado, what I want you to do is find a spot on the floor. As you can see, I have my yoga mat that's out here. This is in my office. And the reason I wanted to show you in my office is because it doesn't take up a ton of space to be able to go through this joint preparation. So I'm going to walk you through this, and you might have to watch this video a couple times, but after, you should be able to kind of get the idea. And at any point of this flow, feel free to adjust or change it that fits for you. We're going to start off on the floor, and then we're going to end standing again. So without further ado, what you need to be is barefoot, or at least in your socks. Shoes need to be off. The very first thing that we're going to start off with is working those toes. So we're going to come down on to the ground, and we're going to tuck these toes underneath us. From here, you're just going to sit back on your heels. Now, if this is super painful, you can get up and away from your heels, which is going to put less pressure on your toes, or you can sink down, or if you want to be a yoga pro, you can actually lift your hips and you can come on to bring your hands to your heels. I usually just sit like this. It's a great stretch to the bottom of the feet and the toes. Next, from here, we're going to work the front of the shins. So now we're going to bring those feet down, and we're going to be on the tops of our feet. So again, we're going to be in this position, same kind of bent position that we were with the toes tucked, but now we're going to let those toes be a little bit free. From here, you can, again, lean back and get a little more stretch into your quads. If this hurts a ton, all you have to do is come out of it a little bit or adjust as needed. I usually sit here for about 30 seconds on my toes and 30 seconds on the top of my feet. After that, I go into child's pose. So I'm gonna open up my knees just a little bit, just to make a little bit of room for my hips. And then I'm going to reach out. Bring my head, hopefully this sounds okay on the mic. Bring my forehead down to the ground. If you want extra, you can bring your chin up. This will stretch through the shoulders and the low back. You can lean off from one side to the other and just see how that kind of feels. From here, I get into a tabletop position. So my hands are going to be underneath my shoulders. My knees are going to be underneath my hips. Now I'm going to go through some cat-cows. So from here, I'm going to breathe in, drop my belly, and bring up my chest and chin. Then I'm going to bring my chest towards my pelvis, my chin towards my chest, round out and push. You're going to slide those shoulders, and then you're going to go back up. Big breath and exhale. I go through about 5 of those, breathing in and then breathing out. From here, I'm going to take one of my hands, right or left, doesn't matter. I'm going to put it right in the center, so right between my knees. And then from here, I'm going to take my hand, put it behind my head, and I'm gonna go through the same breath. Breathing in deeply, twisting and trying to open up, and then exhale and bring elbow back to elbow, and then go through the same cycle. This is an awesome, awesome, awesome mobility for the upper back and thoracic extension. Then you'll switch to the other side and complete it in the same manner. Okay? Then from this point, this is when I'm going to end up getting getting into a down dog position. So if you've ever done yoga, we're going to get into a down dog where we're going to kind of get into this piked position. So after I go through my thoracic rotations, then I'm going to push myself up into a down dog. I'm going to stay there for however long that I need to, but we're really thinking with that down dog, keep the knees bent unless you're really, really flexible, because we're focusing on trying to keep a really flat back. After that, after I've been in this position for a little bit, I'll then pull one of my legs forward into this hurdler stretch. Now from here, you can keep your hand up. Let me switch this up. You can keep your hand in this position here, or if you are flexible enough, you can drop your elbow down to the ground. From here, you're going to take this other elbow and see if you can bring it down to the ground. If you can't, that's fine. If you need to be up a little bit, that's fine as well. We're going to go through the same breathing pattern of big breath in and big exhale, breathing in, stretching, and then bringing ourselves back down. I can do the same thing up in this position as well, dependent on how much flexibility that I have in this hip or this hip. So you're gonna feel it here, you're gonna feel it here, you're gonna feel it in the low back. Okay? Then I'll push myself after I get done with going through about, again, 5 to 10 rotations of reaching up. I'll push myself back down into a down dog. Again, helping those shoulders open up and those hamstrings. I'm not getting in the best position because my mat is super slippy. Then I'm going to get back into this hurdler stretch. I'm going to push this back as far as I can so I get this feel in this hip. Then I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to drop that elbow down. I'm going to breathe in and exhale. Down, breathe in, down. And I'll go through that for about 5 to 10 rotations. Just depends on what you need. After doing 5 to 10, sometimes I'll sit here and rotate a little bit, kind of push into some tight corners before I end up going back into a down dog. So again, I'll go into a down dog. You can see my knees are bent. I'm really trying to push that chest back. So imagine somebody was trying to push on your upper back down into the ground. That's what we're really trying to think and trying to create that really flat piked position. And I can't see myself in the video, so hopefully I don't look that bad. But that's the idea of it. After I'm in that piked position, this down dog, I will walk my feet up until I can get into a yoga squat. Yoga squat, those feet are going to open up, and we're going to come down into this squat position here. Now, if you can't get into this squat position, that's okay. You can use something like a chair or a bookshelf to help keep yourself in this upright position. Again, we're trying to work the ankles, knees, and hips. Ideally, where I'd want you to be is being able to do this yoga squat and hold it for 5 minutes. That's kind of crazy because if you're with me right now, you're probably thinking to yourself, I can't hold this any longer. You can see what I'm doing with my hands. This is to stretch my wrists. So at this point, we've worked toes, the feet, ankles, knees, hips. Now I'm getting to the wrists. I'll go palms facing each other, and then I'll go back of hands facing each other. Stretching both sides, flexion and extension. Then I'm gonna link my hands, and I'm gonna push down. Still in this yoga squat. If at any point this is getting too hard, you can bring yourself up, relax a little bit before you bring yourself back down. Now, the important thing with the yoga squat, take a look at my heels. Oop, it's kind of hard to see my heels. You want to make sure that those heels stay down, that we don't end up with a heel lift. If you need help being in this yoga position, you can put something underneath your heel to help you be in that better position. But again, if your heels are lifting like this, it's because we have bad ankle range. And we want to try to get back down into this position, which is why we would use something to anchor ourselves, because then we can sit back a little bit more and we can work into that ankle range. Okay? So coming back to it, I would be in this position, extending the hands. Then I'm gonna work that upper back again. So I'm gonna go into a prisoner position. Hands are gonna go behind the head. I'm gonna exhale down, and then I'm gonna inhale up. I'm gonna try to spread my elbows and lift my chest as much as I can. If you're doing this, you can probably feel it in your upper back. It's one of my favorite upper thoracic extension mobilities to be able to do. Again, you'll go through 5 to 10 of these. Exhale, inhale. Lifting that chest and opening those hands as best that we can. Then from this point, I'm gonna go through some rotations. So these are squat rotations. Still in this squat position. If you need to come out of it, come out of it. I'm gonna be in the squat position. I'm gonna take my elbow, drive it into my knee, and then I'm gonna open myself up, bring myself back down. Again, inhale, exhale. When you twist like this, I want you to think about trying to pull your shoulder blade back. Don't allow that shoulder blade to be extended, so we're thinking about trying to squeeze that back together when we're rotating. We'll go through 5 to 10 of those. Then I'm going to grab my feet, and these are called boot strappers, where I'm gonna lift the hip up, feel the stretch in the hamstrings, and then bring myself back down to a squat position. Stretch out those hamstrings, back into, again, that squat position. Go through 5 to 10 of those, just feeling it out. Then we're gonna bring ourselves up. Okay, now we're in a standing position. So floor is now done. We're up in a standing position. Now we're going to work the hips a little bit, just to make sure that they're opened up and they're mobile. So all we're going to do is some rotations. So you're really trying to make some big circles and feel that hip joint moving around in there. We'll rotate one way, and then we'll rotate back the other way. Then I'll work some ankle circles, just keeping that toe on the ground. You can also extend it in front of you and work some rotations. Just working that ankle, still working joints as much as we can. Rotate through there. Rotate through there. At this point, I'm gonna start working some extension in the standing position. I'm gonna take my hands, place them on my butt, the top of your butt cheeks. Okay, you're gonna pull that chest open. So squeeze those shoulder blades. We're not gonna allow the shoulders to stay down. We're gonna open them up. From here, we're gonna start leaning back. The reason we have our hands on our hips is to protect that lower back. We're gonna start extending through. While you're extending, you're thinking about pulling those shoulder blades back the entire time. Okay, so from the front view, pull the shoulder blades back and extend. You can hold this position for however long that you need. Okay? Then from here, I will work opening up the shoulders a little bit. So I'm gonna do some swings just out in front of me. And then I'm gonna do some swings up overhead. 5 to 10, again, nothing crazy. I'm gonna bring focus when I'm going up overhead. I'm thinking swing as high as I can here. And then I'm gonna do 5 to 10s thinking swing as far back down. So I'm thinking high 5 to 10 and I'm thinking back. So I'm pushing my hands down, The opposite way is pulling my hands up really high, okay? So we'll go through 5 to 10 of those, 5 to 10, bring them down fast. Then we're gonna go through some shoulder rotations. Thumbs are pointing down and rotating forward. Then we're gonna switch, open up the hip palms, and we're gonna rotate the opposite way. This is gonna help to open up those shoulders. You can rotate, again, the magic kind of number is 10 in here, but with these rotations, they're a little bit quicker, so maybe do 20 of them. Then from that point, okay, we've worked the wrists, the shoulders, we open up the chest, we've got an extension. Now we're starting to get into the upper neck. So from here, we're gonna start going into some rotations. Chin, as if we were trying to touch the shoulder. We'll rotate back and forth. We'll also go up and down. And again, magic number is 10, right? 1, 2, 3, 4 to 10, up and down to 10, and then we're gonna go through some neck rolls. Long, slow neck rolls. Go one way, and then go ahead and go the opposite way. Then we're gonna get to about the end. From here, we're gonna do what's called a Jefferson curl. We're really gonna feel a pull and a stretch through that spine, because what we're focusing on is getting into flexion from the base of the skull all the way down to the very bottom of your vertebrae, basically where your tailbone is. So with a Jefferson curl, you can do this with weight, but I don't. You can, but I don't. What you're gonna do is the very first thing that you're gonna do is pull your chin down into your chest. That's gonna start the flexion from the base of the skull. Pull down, chin to chest. Then you're thinking about rotating all the way through. Knees are pretty much locked here. You're gonna go down as far as you can. Chin is gonna stay tucked to the chest. That's where you'll feel that big pull through your entire spine. You'll find that when you kind of get down, depending on who you are, your chin might want to raise off your chest. Keep it pinned down to your chest and feel that stretch all the way through the spine. Rotate all the way down. Then slowly come all the way back up. This is where I'll go into extension here again. So I'll either pull back or even raise my hands up overhead. And then I'll bring my hands back down, focus on going through that flexion all the way through again. After that, I give myself a little shake and I'm all done. So that is the joint preparation that I suggest. Now, at any point through that joint preparation, you can add in anything that you like. The reason I like that joint preparation is because I start off from the floor and I work myself all the way up. I work through each joint, and you can spend as much time as you want or as little time as you want. The most important thing, we start off with a low hurdle, we just get it going, and then we can see a difference. So I highly suggest committing to this practice and trying to get it in anywhere between 3 to 6 days a week, and I guarantee that you're going to start feeling and seeing a difference in your mobility and your flexibility. One last thing. I know I talked about breath a lot. It's important to be able to connect with your breath while you're going through this breathing. That's why it's called a flow. We want to flow through this and really be thinking about our breath in through the nose and exhale through the mouth or back through the nose. But this gives us time to be able to get into a nice, calm parasympathetic state to allow the body to relax and get into the best joint mobility that we can. So that is it. Leave any comments below if you have questions or if there's something that you would add to this joint preparation flow. All right, that's it. I'll see you in the next video.